Welcome to the Saranac Lake Effect Show. It's November 30th. Welcome.
3.
Yes, episode 30.
Well,
eventually. On November 30th.
That's right. Okay.
Here we are.
Yeah. And as you've all been on, if you were watching episode 2, you are definitely on pins and needles waiting for the village board updates. And I'm just really hoping that we have some accounting updates today. But before we get into that, we do have to acknowledge our wonderful first ever inaugural guest on the Saranac Lake Effect Show, John Williams, who is the local hometown boy, also owner, co-owner of Bitters and Bones. And we are going to talk to him a lot of issues today. We're really going to needle him. But before we do that, we want to have some powers. But first, want to acknowledge, thanks so much for the time for joining us today, bud.
Guys, it's great to be here. I'm honored to be on one of the first episodes, and I'm really supportive of the notion of getting folks involved, getting the community involved, and discussing local issues. So thanks for doing it.
Yeah, I think that's what we hope. This is just another way to do that, another avenue for kind of discussion in the community.
100%. So, all right, I teased it. We have a village board update, and please tell me you have something about accounting.
I do.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, this is it. Well, so if you missed it last week, the last episode, we talked about the village's governmental accounting software, and they are looking at doing an upgrade. Software that is at least 20 years old, it might be older, and it's overdue for an update. And the village treasurer gave a great presentation on why it's important to upgrade and some of the features that newer accounting systems have. And as I mentioned, it's not something that we think about all the time, right? But it's really it's critical to have a good accounting system. And the benefits of a modern accounting system are that it's a lot easier for the treasurer to share information, financial information, back to the village board, but also to the public.
Less transparency.
The transparency and the sharing options are just way better today than they were back in the old days.
Sure.
So why I wanted to mention it again is this fascinating thing that happened.
Fascinating.
Yes.
Okay,
yeah,
that's a big word.
We're putting accounting system and fascinating in the same sentence.
9 minutes left, by the way.
9 minutes left. So when the treasurer gave his update and gave a presentation at the village board meeting 2 weeks ago, a different vendor watched it.
Okay.
And then reached out to the village and said, well, we want another shot at getting your business.
All right. Capitalism.
And lowered their price. And I don't know what I don't know the different vendors or whatever. But the whole idea that the village, number one, broadcast its meeting.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Number two, that the treasurer gave a really in-depth report and presentation on what he was thinking, which is just great example of government transparency, which wasn't always in the past. Meetings weren't broadcast, right? Just technology. The village has made a commitment to do that, and because of those two things, it very well may get a better deal on its new accounting software.
Okay. So it does lower my taxes.
Yes.
All right. So get both things I wanted. Lower taxes and water bill paid online. All right.
So we don't have to go into any more detail, but the way that came about, I thought was fascinating.
Amazing, yeah. Perfect, yeah.
Pretty cool, huh?
Transparency.
So we'll see how it all plays out, but they're still working on it.
Saga continues. Okay. But you also want to talk about something else equally as fascinating. Possibly.
Riveting. Okay. This is in the riveting.
And this is totally in your wheelhouse.
Yes.
Codes.
Okay. Village laws.
Not like learn to code. We're not talking about that.
Not coding.
Okay.
Village laws.
Okay.
So every municipality has its own laws that it enforces.
Yeah.
And over the last century, those laws were passed and put in a book. And for the last however many years, many many municipalities have been putting those online. Sometimes it would be a PDF on their website, but more recently, it's putting them into a searchable database.
Okay.
And the village has been had this desire for a long time, and has been making a good push to actually get all of the village's laws in what's in a cloud-based database called General Code.
Okay. So when you say code, and you say you're using codes and laws interchangeably,
Yes.
are you talking about like building codes, or are you talking about legal laws, like, you know, if we're going to arrest you if you violate this law? We're talking about both. Like, what are we talking
Yeah, it's
about?
all, well, it is confusing because if in a city, it might be an ordinance, in a village, it's
Okay.
a law, in a
Okay.
town, it's a law, but
Okay.
it's all of the laws that the village board passes
Okay.
that regulate
So the rules of the game
the
of
rules of the
if you
game.
want to play in
Right.
Saranac Lake Village, these are the rules you
Yes.
got to follow. Okay.
So no spitting on the sidewalk is one of those laws.
Right. We had got that, and so now there's not going to be any more of that.
Well,
It's online now, because no one knew about that.
nobody
before.
knew about it. So now everyone's going to
Everybody
know
just
about
gone
it.
everywhere.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's just anyway.
Interesting. Yeah. No, I
So,
like that.
so again, it's another big step forward
Yeah. Moving forward.
as far as putting information out there in a way that's a lot easier for the average
Well,
resident
I
to
think
get access.
And I think we can be a bit self-deprecating. You know, we both love Saranac Lake, as we talked about before. That, you know, one of the many things that makes Saranac Lake great on that list, I would not say is our web presence, our online presence. We don't have amazing websites for a lot. Some websites are great, but others are lacking. So we're moving forward. We're getting there. This is good, and this leads us to, just so you know, you got about
3 minutes, okay.
Your final update, which, if you're still, I mean, you're probably on as you see at this point,
Yes.
Woodruff Street. There's an update about Woodruff Street.
Well, this was part of a larger discussion and update about the downtown revitalization initiative project that the village has been working on for the last couple of years.
Which our guests will know a lot about as well.
He can certainly talk about it, yes. But one that was really interesting and exciting for me is that the board reiterated its desire to finish designing reconstruction of Woodruff Street between Broadway and Church Street. So that's where Scott's Forest is.
Yep. Oh, yes.
And
Where Ampersound used to be.
where Harrietstown just so that corridor is becoming increasingly important between the traditional area of downtown, Broadway and Main Street, but this revitalizing area over where Norrie's is, where Pendragon Theater is proposing to build its new theater,
Yeah.
and where the River Trail Beer Works project. So you're seeing all of this investment over on the east side of Church Street. And you've got the traditional downtown corridor that we all know and love,
Yeah.
Main Street and Broadway.
This is the
And Woodruff Street is a natural
between it.
bridge or connection between them.
Okay.
It's in terrible shape. It needs new utilities. It needs a lot of things. And so the village has constraints in their funding, but one thing they wanted to do is really explore the options for that street. And so they said, we're going to fully design and come up with the actual cost to rebuild that street, put utilities, all the utilities underground, make it a really exciting, a really good walkable street, and make it an awesome connection between
Yeah.
these two parts.
So what you're telling me is I should buy real estate on Woodruff Street
Yes.
because it's going to be much more valuable still.
I don't know if this project will lower the taxes, which seems to be the only thing that you
We're
care
going to
about.
offset. Well, I do care about taxes. Yeah, no, well, so
Anyway,
that was
That's my update.
three. And you know, the reason we do that is because obviously anybody that wants to can go to the village board meetings, and we encourage that. We
Yes.
want people to go to the village board meetings, but we realize it's not always possible for everybody. Right. So this is not in any way meant to replace that. This
No.
is meant to say, hey, here's a few highlights of things you may have missed. If you're listening to this show, hopefully it means you care about the village and you want a little bit of more knowledge about what's going on. So
Right.
thank you for that. Now, do you want to, with that, all that being said, bring in our guest official?
Let's bring him in
All
officially.
right, here he is. Well, so John is with us.
Is he still here?
We haven't lose him yet. No, I think we got him.
All right, fellas.
Yeah, he's already regretting his decision. So, as you heard us going on there about, we do this podcast. We started this podcast because we both love Saranac Lake. We know you love Saranac Lake, and we don't have there's no teleprompter we're looking at. We're just this is all off the cuff. You can believe this riveting conversation is not pre-planned too much. And we wanted to talk to you because you are born and raised here. You didn't leave, like myself. You didn't leave, and then you came back. And so, two topics I wanted to talk to you about. One was you talk a little bit about your upbringing here, but more about your hometown guy, why you left, and what brought you back.
Well, again, fellas, I'm thrilled to be here. And yes, Justin, you hit the nail on the head. I am born and raised in Saranac Lake. You want to know about my upbringing, why I left, and why I came back. So growing up in Saranac Lake was a great experience, even though I'm not sure I realized it at the time. One of the things I pride myself in now appreciating and realizing is that I've had the same group of friends since I was about 6 years old. And I don't know if everybody else can say that. Maybe they can, and certainly I hope that's the case because it's a very fortunate occurrence. Another thing that I probably hated back in the day growing up here was the fact that everybody knows you, and everybody knows your parents, and everybody knows the trouble that you cause, and etc. So now, instead of being plagued by that, it is a joy to go to the coffee shop and speak with every other person in line, and really just get to enjoy your community and play a part in it. Without being,
tell me the Williams boys caused trouble when you were young. Is that what you're telling me?
I can neither confirm nor deny that statement. Also, should I just ramble on, or are you guys you want to throw questions at me?
No, this is good. I do want to let's just put a pin there and have a separate episode on
the Williams boys.
They're growing up.
Like the Hardy boys, it's the Williams boys. Okay, yeah, that'll be a future episode.
Yeah, so Johnny, one way to look at this is you're back now. What was that like? Like the process in your head over a course of years or months or whatever it was. Tell us what it was like for you as you kind of decided, I want to make my way back to Saranac.
Well, like so many things in life, it kind of just happenstance. I always knew, or at least I always anticipated, that I would come back to Saranac Lake to, I don't know, in the Beaver Cleaver sense, to raise my family and build a home and etc. But I did not anticipate that I would be here at the tender age of 29. I thought I would be in the big city, living the fast life. And really the only reason that I was back so young was that I had a job in the city doing marketing and advertising. That business got taken over and restructured, and I was kind of the low man on the totem pole. And they said, thanks for all your help, and that'll be all. And so I came home to enjoy the summer and was really fortunate to have the opportunity to focus some effort on the former Captain Cook's. It was vacant at the time, and I had some manpower and support in the form of my brother Jimmy and, my family around me, my friend Osita, who is a local guy that I love and call one of my very best friends, and our network of local support, folks that we grew up with were here sanding walls and putting together stools. So that's kind of how Bitters and Bones started, and the story of how I was fortunate to come back at a stage in my life where I had some energy to devote.
So we're talking about Bitters and Bones, which is currently your restaurant and bar, which is still under construction. You guys, every time I drive by, there's more. You guys are adding more onto that. I love seeing. So this was when you and I were growing up here. That establishment was known as the Back Door. It was mostly just a bar as far as I don't think they even served food back then. And eventually it became Shoes, and then after that it was Captain Cook's, and by the time you arrived back, the sign was still there, but it wasn't operational. Is that fair? Is that right?
All of that's true with the exception. I think if Tug Duffy's out there listening, he might take exception to that. He created, when he had the Back Door, created TNT Wings, which was hugely successful.
That's right. I completely
So,
forgot about that. Yeah.
we got to make sure the history is accounted for.
My apologies, Doug, and my parents would be ashamed of me for that. So you're right, because I definitely had many of those wings. So yeah. So you and you a lot of sweat equity there for sure. You're describing, and you got Bitters and Bones up and going. So you just tell us a little more about when Bitters and Bones, when you officially opened your doors, and what it was like that first day, and how it is different now, if at all.
Certainly. So we opened our doors officially August 28th of 2015 for a soft opening, which means we're a little over 7 years old. Since opening the doors all those years ago, we've been really fortunate. Brother Jimmy is back and boots on the ground, offering assistance and guidance and support that we didn't necessarily have for the first 4 years, give or take. And so that's been wonderful. And since he has returned, we've been able to, as you said, Justin, really push on the gas pedal and start with some upgrades and some renovations, and really dedicating the time and resources to making sure that this place is in good standing and will be here for many years to come. Like so many buildings in the village, Bitters and Bones was no exception, and it needed some love and support. And so we've got the brewery that's up and running. We're very proud to be Saranac Lake's first downtown brewery. We've got the rooftop deck in the back, which has been tremendously successful, especially in the wake of COVID. It really gave folks an option to dine outside and enjoy our food and drink in a kind of secluded, really beautiful outdoor setting. And the most contemporary addition that we have is the rooftop deck in the front, which affords folks a bird's eye view of the busiest intersection in Saranac Lake and our Broadway. Yeah, we've really been kind of pushing on the gas and investing in the future of the business and the community at large, I feel.
So the brewery took a lot of effort, and I'm sure it's taking a lot of effort. What's the schedule, do you think, for the front rooftop patio being completed?
Well, if we had a year-round building season, I think it could be done very shortly. But the fact of the matter is, we're about to get dumped on with snow and endure 6 months of winter, and so we're in no rush to put together the rooftop bar and rooftop deck right now. But I will say it's going to be sweet with a big bar and outside tables and 2 full restrooms and propane fire pits and lounge furniture. It's going to be a place where you can go and be comfortable and enjoy a relaxed atmosphere. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're excited.
I love it. I love driving by there and just envisioning that potential, seeing that. Definitely loved the back patio area. You didn't mention, we do want to make sure we mention too that, because hopefully it's not just locals living here, we have other folks as well, that you've also got the small little venue back there for the live music, right off of the back patio. You've got that area kind of carved out where I've definitely enjoyed some live music there myself, so that's also an option.
Absolutely.
So, all right, Bitters and Bones, and as if that didn't keep you busy enough, there's other things. And so one other thing we want to talk about with Bitters and Bones, I mean, besides running a bar and restaurant and all the expansion you guys are doing, you also do an amazing fundraiser every year known as the Turkey Trot. Can you tell us a little bit about what that is, how that came to be, and then speak to maybe this most recent Turkey Trot that just happened last week, how much you're able to raise.
Yeah, thanks for pointing that out, Justin. The Turkey Trot is our annual fundraiser. It's a 5K charity. It started in the first year that we had Bitters and Bones, and really is a result of our time living out west. It was interesting that so many of our Saranac Lake friends ended up in Southern California, and so it was not uncommon for us to have and host large Thanksgiving celebrations at our home in Dana Point when we lived there. So it was not uncommon for us to have 18 to 20 to more individuals, the majority of which would be Saranac Lakers. And so in Dana Point, they have a very long-running, successful Turkey Trot. We were, for whatever reason, inspired to join it one year, and then that became a tradition for us. And when we came back home, there was a couple of smaller fun runs that were being executed that day. We reached out to those individuals and said, hey, we really want to blow this up, and we really want to be able to raise money for the village. And so that first, I guess about 2.5 months after we opened, the first Turkey Trot was born. And it raised $8,000, and I think we were blown away that this little event in our tiny hometown could raise that money. Since then, the event has run every year, and really, I have to take my hat off to Brother Jimmy. When COVID came around, we realized pretty quickly that gathering at the bar was not going to be realistic for the day of fun run event. And so he devised a plan to really enlist our community to stand up and take the burden off the business sponsors that we had been calling on every year, and to earn miles from throughout the month of November, get sponsors for those miles, and then they put those funds towards the Turkey Trot. It was a huge success in that year. I guess that would have been 2020. Yeah, that would have been 2020. The event raised $50,000, which was head and shoulders above what we've been able to do before. Last year, again, kind of in the wake of the bulk of the coronavirus pandemic, we joined the day of race format with the virtual format, and had a success that I really don't think anybody would have expected. And I will say we had a really generous anonymous donation, which put us up at about $84,000. And so those funds, just like in the first year, go evenly to the Interfaith Food Pantry and the Saranac Lake Student Needs Fund, two causes in the community which we feel very passionate about. And not to be... Go ahead, Jeremy.
I just wanted to say, Justin and I both have spent time in the school board, and we've had a pretty good window into how those funds have been used to help kids and families in the community. And you could have, not that you wanted to, but you could have donated money to, there's all sorts of charities and good efforts out there at a local, national, international level. But the fact that you keep it very, very local is one of the things that sets it apart. What do you guys do?
Well, to your point, and to the point of this podcast, this is a local podcast. We're a local business. We're a local family. It says "Real Hometown" on our sign that hangs above our door. We believe in this community. We invest in this community. We love this community. And one question, I don't know if I can be the one asking questions, but Jeremy and Justin, you guys, as you pointed out, you sit or have sat on the school board. We have some idea of how the Student Needs Fund approaches its spending, but if you had any insight, I think it's tremendously valuable for folks to understand where those dollars go and how the dollars that they donate impact their community. So if you could take a second and enlighten me, that would be really helpful.
Well, I'll say this. We're hoping to have the expert on at some point with the Saranac Lake Community Schools Initiative.
That is the hope, yeah.
And because we'll both do a disservice. And I can't even begin to list all the things that are done through the Community Schools Initiative that would never be authorized with just taxpayer funds.
Yeah,
that are going to help kids.
Yeah, the community schools model that is really, I mean, so well supported by these types of funds is really if you're thinking about how to best support youth in the community, especially a lot of youth who come from lower income backgrounds and things like that. I mean, these funds are just unbelievable. I mean, the in-school stuff, the support, also the after-school program, that can be an issue, around here, especially for some younger people. After-school programming that's available is just amazing. So yeah, we'll pause that for a second to say we want to bring on the community schools director to speak to that, but it just means you gotta tune into that episode when that comes out, John.
Well, I know exactly who you're talking about. Erica Bazzaio has been such a champion of the kids in the community, and you speak about the community school model. I don't know if a lot of people understand what that is, and I certainly didn't until I got the chance to sit with Erica, but I don't know where we were without it. And I feel so fortunate that she is there really looking after the kids right there, shoulder to shoulder with the rest of the staff. But it's something that, the community needs to know about, and they need to understand how they can become involved. I'd be thrilled to praise Erica if you guys ever have her on.
Well, we hope. We've not asked her.
We haven't yet, so if he's hearing this,
yes,
you didn't miss an email.
We'll have a whole episode on it. But I think what we're hearing from you, though, is that you feel completely comfortable with donating to the community schools fund. I mean, you felt like it's been a worthwhile investment of the donations from the Turkey Trot. I mean, that's pretty obvious.
Well, I have to stand and correct myself. The first year we took the $8,000 that the community raised with the Turkey Trot, and we gave it to the Interfaith Food Pantry. And nobody can dispute that that's a worthy cause, especially around the holidays. The next year, the event raised $12,000, and we put our heads together and we said, maybe we can do more with this. Maybe we can increase the impact of this and spread the wealth, so to speak. And so, things are getting loud at the shop.
Hey, you're a busy guy. It's a work hour.
I'm gonna switch locales here.
How we doing?
And it's warmer.
As you're moving there, saying too, going from, it's a great example. So in 2015, raising 8,000 to this past one, or 2021, raising 84,000. I mean, so you more than 10 times the amount. Speaks to, you could say, it speaks to the generosity of the community, but it does speak to the village and the residents and people willing and excited to rally around a good cause. Because it's not like Thanksgiving, Saranac Lake is the best time to be outside a lot. It's often quite cold. It can be snowing. It can be rainy. It can be windy. And so I always love in the paper the next day seeing the pictures and just being a part of the trot and seeing everyone out there with, their faces are really red, cold, and the exhaustion of running. But people find it worthy to donate to it. I think, again, this speaks to one of the reasons why we said in our first episode, why do we both live here? I'm from here. You found this place and live here, raise your family. And there's just that, there is that community feel here of people do care.
Right, and now it's something, right? Johnny, I mean, you guys, if you stopped it, you'd be run out of town at this point. I mean, it's become a tradition that's growing, and it's just going to, I can't wait to see it hit its 30th anniversary. And I I split my time between here and Peru. Peru has a turkey trot for over 40 years, but many, many times. And it's a great tradition down there. I can't wait to see when this turkey trot gets 10 years, 20 years, 30 years.
Absolutely, can't wait. So before we let you go, talking about bitters and bones, I do have one burning question, and it is why. Jerry might have more, but I want to know why bitters and bones. Who came up with that one? Who's the branding on that?
Well, there was thought that if we just went with something simple, the long and short of it is Osita, who helped, right along with our friend Jay Deno, right along with anybody that we could rope in. Osita and I and Jimmy were the original three partners, and so we worked ourselves to the bone, getting up early, being in here, and making this place what it is aesthetically. And then we put time into creating a list of names that we then shopped out to kind of friends and family. And I just recently rediscovered this list of names, and it was nostalgic, but I remember asking our good friend Carl C.J. Hagman, and I remember shopping it out to various folks as we sat and had an end-of-day libation at the bar, and I remember overwhelmingly folks looked at bitters and bones, and it appealed to them. And the idea was that bitters is cocktails and bones is food. And so I'm a sucker for alliteration. We immediately started working up a logo. As we started to define the logo, I sent it off to some of our friends that I worked with when I was in marketing and advertising, and our buddy Lewis, who is a graphic mastermind, just whipped this thing up, turned it around in 20 minutes, and sent it back to me. And that was the birth of the logo, which has been so successful for us. So,
what was one of the other names that was in contention? I got to know. Was it Bell's Tavern? Did you get outvoted? Is that what it was?
No, we didn't. We wanted it to speak to the area, but not be kind of so obvious as, like, I don't know. So we had things like Base Camp. We had was one of them. The Lamp House was one, because I have a weird obsession with like gas oil lamps. So we wanted to have lamps all over the place, which probably would have been terrible for insurance purposes. What else did we have? I don't know. I'll have to dig that out, Justin, and I'll shoot you a picture. But there was probably 15 names on there. Some of them were terrible. Some of them were pretty good. But Bitters and Bones is what we finally decided on.
It just stuck, and people liked it. It just spoke to them, and then that's when you know you have a winner.
Yeah.
Like you said, alliteration and that marketing background you have, because it's a great name, it's a great name, great business, great resource for the community, and like Jeremy said, look forward to seeing not just the turkey meat. So again, the Turkey Trot, the expansion outside with the live music, the rooftop, front bar and deck you're gonna have their lounge area. Just I'm wondering what the third level is going to be when you guys start building on top of that deck. Where you're going to go? You guys seem to be building up. So thanks for that history. That was really that's interesting. I didn't know a lot of that.
We've got just a few minutes left, and I wanted to ask him about a different topic. Okay. So Johnny, you've come back home. You've got the business going. You're incredibly busy, but a year ago, you got elected onto the Harrietstown Town Board. How's that been going? And what possessed you to do that?
That's a good question. Honestly, what possessed me? Well, I will say that when I was younger and a bit more idealistic, I had thoughts that one day I might be in politics. I thought that it would be a great way to make an impact on the on our towns and our villages, on our communities, on our states in the union, and our nation at large. However, I did become a little bit disillusioned with that and the inner workings of government, for better or worse. I found myself attempting to make a difference at a more personal level as a for-profit business owner with my partners. And I think that that's been a really nice niche for me. However, being involved with the village means that you really being a bartender, which isn't my mainstay these days, allows you to really just get your finger on the pulse of the community and the individuals that interact within your community. And so it inspired me and led me to throw my hat into the ring, because I felt as if I had a good knowledge of the players in the game and the individuals who I might, if I was fortunate enough to be elected, be working with. And I also felt like I had a pretty good idea of what the community lacked and what I could do to be helpful in putting my 2 cents in on behalf of the folks that voted me in. So it wasn't really anything in particular, but I do feel like the older I get, the more things kind of come full circle. And I really like the idea of dedicating some of one's time to helping wherever they can. And I think this is just an example of an opportunity that presented itself so that I could help out.
So Johnny is on the Harrietstown Town Board, which is separate from the technically Village Board, where we do our updates. We'd be remiss if we didn't point out that Johnny's brother, who he's alluded to, Jimmy, is mayor of the village. So, but again, it speaks to what I keep hearing, is there's this call to service that you're speaking about, which is the same reason I joined the school board, the same reason you're on Harrietstown Board. I believe in ways it's a big reason why Jimmy felt the need to call the run for mayor. So all these, I think, speaks to just, again, everyone's dedication to the village. So thanks for not just everything you've done with bidders and making it a great part of our downtown. We talked about downtown in the previous episode and the importance of them. Can't thank you enough for everything you've done in the community, whether it be at Bitters and Bones or the money donated from the Turkey Trot, as well as serving on Harrietstown Board. So thank you so much for your time today, bud, and everything you're doing, and just keep it up. We're coming for you.
No, guys, it's my pleasure. And honestly, Justin, being home and seeing young families like yours and our buddy Kirk and our buddy Sam, just being here in this moment in time is so perfect. It really fills me with joy and pride and hope for the future that we all share.
Can't really end on a better note than that.
That's the purpose of this podcast,
I think
right?
you just nailed it right there.
Is looking at the future of this village and with a lot of hope.
He does know a little bit about branding,
Yeah.
sounds like.
I get
Yeah,
that.
the education paid off.
Right.
All
I
right.
don't know what that company was thinking.
Yeah,
Thanked him for his service.
big mistake. So
Send him
hopefully
packing.
you remind them.
Blessing in the sky.
We all are benefiting from that decision, that corporate decision.
Their loss is our gain, for
Exactly.
sure. So,
Right.
all right. Well, Johnny, we're going to do a few more housekeeping things. We'll let you get out of here, and we would love to, in the future, what we're going to offer to people in the community, you being our first guest, is if people in the future want to come on the podcast, talk with us about an issue or something important to them, we want that. We want to get the word about the podcast. So when you're doing those bar shifts, if you're still doing those, or whatever you might be interacting with people, if they hear about you on the podcast, tell them how they can find us. We'll have the website up soon. And again, thanks so much for your time, buddy. See you next time at Bitters.
Really appreciate you guys. Thanks for putting this on, and thanks for your attention to our little town and our community. It's really important that we highlight the positive things and just kind of move away from the negativity that's out there. So thanks for doing your part, and I look forward to listening to the next episode.
All right. Yeah. Talk soon.
All right, buddy. Take care.
Thanks
See you guys.
All right. first guest.
That was
he humored us.
Yes, he did.
It takes a little bit of faith or blind faith to agree to do something like that.
Yes.
So,
And we'll send his check in the mail. We'll pay him for his appearance. So.
Yeah.
No, but we had to pivot in the last one week. Johnny was supposed to be in studio with us.
Right.
Had to last minute change. Not feeling great today, so he still agreed to do it though even when he wasn't feeling great.
Yep.
So he was obviously at work. They're always busy there. So
we had our track IT staff pivot.
we did, yeah.
Right.
You know, we put him to work. Last minute call. They pulled some overtime. So yeah, I mean, we did it. So hopefully, that gives everyone a taste of what it's like to be a guest on the show. We're not trying to have any gotcha moments. It's all about learning about what you do, what your role is in the community, why you live here, what brought you here, what's kept you here, and certainly a chance to talk about your business if you have one, or your ideas for the future of Saranac Lake.
Right. And so as far as housekeeping, Saranac Lake Effect Show at gmail.com. One way to get a hold of us. The other is Facebook. Just type in Saranac Lake Effect Show. It should come up. We want to hear your feedback. So this is a format. We're just trying to figure this format out. Tell us what worked, what didn't work. We're going to keep tweaking until we get it right.
Right. Absolutely, that's the plan. And I'm doing it, but it's been fun.
So far, so good.
So far, we have 3 in the bag.
We're learning as we go.
We're just getting
Hopefully,
started.
everyone's patient with us. Keep tweaking it to the point where we have hundreds of thousands of subscribers, and we can afford to give each guest a shirt or a hat.
Or maybe we're just going to keep talking to ourselves, and this is the email here.
And maybe
Who knows?
that's the end result too. But we're still getting something out.
All right. See you next time. Thank
See you
you.
later.